Okay, we are recording, and I am excited to have Dave Sandoval on the podcast today. I know you must be a super busy guy because you're running more than just one company, right? So to squeeze this time in for me, man, I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Well, it's really good to be here with you. Appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, no worries. It's a great way to start off the year having you on. So I know, like I said, I know you're a man with many hats, and you have tons of knowledge. You've been into this lifestyle for a long time, so I'm not sure where to begin. But let's just start with, how was your New Year's? How was your holidays, man?
You know, the New Year's is always a really good time. It's also a time for introspection,
Yeah,
and for me, a little bit of, managed depression as well, as I go through the melancholy feelings and make sure they don't, control me. But at the same time, I don't like to ignore them either. So, like I said, a little managed depression, a little bit of family time, and reflection is really important, I think.
yeah. Now, are you one of those people who are like anti-Christmas? Because I know a lot of people who are like so-called awakened are like, no, Christmas is, a big money machine, and it causes depression, and for sure, because people are spending money they can't afford. But are you anti-Christmas, or do you take it?
So for me, the world is always yin and yang. It's always half darkness and half light. And to try to pretend that it's anything else to me is just a joke. So in Christmas, you find the light. You find families getting together. You find people caring for each other in ways that they oftentimes don't. You find people in self-reflective moods of seeing how they could be a better person. And that's the light part of it.
Right.
And then you have, the commercialization, and you have the sort of the stress, and the expectation, and that could be considered the dark side of it. But I don't think that there's anything you could bring to mind that doesn't have equally light and dark sides. And what we have to
Right.
do as human beings is understand that there's value to the darkness. And that's what I said, manage depression. That, the darkness isn't there to hurt us, it's there to balance us, it's there to keep us understanding what light is. And so
Right.
so Christmas to me is just another thing. It's
Right.
like pain. It's like joy. It could be a little bit of both.
Yeah. I think if you're looking for the darkness in anything, I think you could find it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, but again, which way are you leaning? You're right in the middle. We're all right in the middle of that yin and yang. And some of us, unfortunately, tend to lean toward the darkness and see everything as though we're blind.
Right.
And some of us tend to lean into the light. And in leaning into the light, we understand the darkness. In not being afraid of the darkness and walking through the darkness, yea, though I walk through the valley of darkness, I fear no evil, right? So the darkness is there for a reason. And everything that we learn, you could say, in the light, that things are revealed, but in the darkness, they are healed. And that's why we go in to the sweat lodge in our Native American church where there's no light, no light, total darkness. And we pray for an hour or more in total darkness, and we sweat out that pain.
Right.
And so, yeah, there's nothing wrong with darkness as long as we are the masters of it and realize that, darkness resides inside all of us and light resides inside all of us in equal parts. And it's which way we lean that makes the difference.
Yeah. Beautifully put, man. It was what was it in the Batman movie that Alfred said to the young Bruce Wayne? It's not about falling down, but it's about the courage of picking yourself back up. Taking that failure or that roadblock as a life lesson to learn something from it and move forward from that, and not make it a negative connotation, and just use that to grow from it. Yeah.
So there's an old saying that's oftentimes misunderstood because it's taken literally, that which does not kill me makes me stronger. And it's the wisdom that we take away from these hard times. It's the knowledge that we could make it the next time because we have experience now and understanding. It doesn't mean we could get our leg cut off and,
Right.
it didn't kill me, but it made me stronger. That's just a fool's way of seeing that.
Right.
But the wise person says, yeah, I understand. Every stress that I go through, like a ginseng root, the more stress a ginseng root has gone through, the more valuable it is, because the more of those stress fighting compounds that we call ginsenosides can be found there. And a ginseng root that's grown in soft, sandy soil will go quick and straight like a carrot and will have very few ginsenosides. But if it grows in rocky soil, in hard soil, in clay soil, it takes years to grow, and it's craggly, and it's not beautiful at all, but it is 20 times, 100 times more valuable to the body. So that's what does not kill me makes me stronger, simply means that the stresses and the challenges that are in front of us are there so that we could deal with future stresses and challenges that might be greater. And these are training wheels for that time.
Yeah, yeah. I've been throwing around a quote. I don't know where I got it from, but it says, "Knowledge is knowing, but wisdom is applying." You can have all
Yeah,
the
I love
knowledge
it.
in the world about nutrition or health, but if you're not actually doing the practice or applying it, what good is it? Yeah.
I always say that ideas don't work, people do. And you can have all
Yeah.
the great ideas you want, but it's
Right.
the applying that makes you great.
Right. 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 Yeah. Um, why don't we jump off here? So I did some background research on you, just kind of exploring social media stuff, and I came across iTunes. You had, I don't know if it was a podcast at the time when you did it, but you had a radio show that you uplinked to iTunes, Ask David Sandoval. So I've been listening to those. Tons of great information in there. And I don't know if you remember saying this, but you might have been quoting someone else too, but you said something about the school lunch program that we have today is a threat to our national security. I don't know if you remember saying that, but I'm like, he is absolutely right. We are raising a generation of people who are going to be unfit to protect our borders, or just firemen or police people. You know what I mean? This generation that's coming up is going to be unfit and unhealthy to a certain degree. So it made sense what you said. I'm like, I never thought about that way. National security. I'm like, he's totally right.
Yeah, if I did a talk about the financial implications of autism, okay, just what it's going to take when 25% of our children need 4 people each to care for them.
Right, right.
That literally takes up the entire population
Right,
just
right.
in care for autistic children. And when you look at the cost to government, to schools, to families, it is the greatest single threat today. And it is a result of all the ignoring. You know what a bird does when it has an egg? It sits on it, it incubates it, it protects it, it goes out and finds the food that will nourish it. It keeps it till it's strong enough to fly on its own. You see, in nature, we learn because we do not treat our children as sacred. We do not treat our children in the manner that they deserve. There is child abuse going on a massive scale, and it's called the food that is being fed to our children. It's the ignorance about vaccinations and the time and the quantity and the quality of them. Not whether vaccinations are overall a good thing. There's a really good case to say that vaccinations are overall a very good thing. But is the preservative in the vaccination a good thing? No. Is taking 2 or 3 vaccine shots on the same day a good thing? Absolutely not.
All right.
Is giving vaccine shots to young, vulnerable, developing babies a good idea? Absolutely not. So let's not get it twisted. Nobody's saying that vaccines in and of themselves are bad. They are not. It's the way they're used, the way they're preserved, the time that they're used, and the quantity of them that are used that is disgusting, immoral, and I believe criminal.
Right.
And it needs to stop. And if we simply stopped answering to the lowest dollar, the cheapest answer, then we would give our children vaccines one at a time without preservatives every 6 months, starting at 5 years old. And in that program, they could be totally vaccinated by the time they're 10. Okay, with no danger and no harm. This is criminal, the way that we ignore our children. Our children are our most precious resource. They're our virtual DNA, and yet we treat them in a manner that is absolutely, in some cases, criminal. Now, for those of you who doubt me, if we want to make America great again, maybe we should start by not being the 89th country in the world in quality of our health.
All right.
89 countries have more longevity. 89 countries have fewer disease. 89 countries have healthier babies. 89 countries take better care of their citizens than we do. We're not even in the top 10, 20, 30, 40, or 50. So if we want to make America great again, Donald, why don't you start by caring about our children?
Right. Yeah, I mean, nothing upsets me more is than when I see images of young kids in the hospital with their heads shaved because they have cancer, they're going through chemo. It maddens me because it doesn't have to be this way. We already know how to cure cancer. We already know how to stop it. We know how to fix it. But yeah, I mean, it's the whole system, and it's part of it. But yeah, the nutrition.
I'm not going to take on cancer because there's 1,000 different types of cancers and there's 500 different causes, okay? Most of those causes can be avoided and addressed, but it's too complicated to treat with a single brush. But not diabetes, my friend. 20 years ago, there was something called adult onset diabetes, okay?
Right.
Or type 2 diabetes. Adult onset or type 2 diabetes. Today, it's called juvenile diabetes, okay? And the reason why, I call it lifestyle diabetes. Now, it used to be that people ate a little bit of bad food. They ate too many desserts, and when they became an adult and they were in charge of their own food, they weren't very responsible, okay?
Right.
And so while they played around with bad food while they were a kid, their parents didn't let them have too much. But once they became an adult, they were in control of the dinner tab and they got diabetes. This was very common. Today, the parents have abdicated the responsibility. They do not protect the children from type 2 diabetes. So it's no longer adult onset diabetes. It's now juvenile diabetes. Not because of the food decisions adults make, but because the food decisions that are made for children by adults. Disgusting, disgusting. I'm challenging every parent out there to take responsibility for their children's health in the right way. Not what they're asking you for, but what their cells are demanding. We need to stop advocating our responsibility for the future. At the Native American Church, we believe it is our responsibility to defend the health and the earth and the planet for the next 7 generations of children and the 7 generations that will follow them. Right. We are not doing that. We are not doing that.
Yeah, we're failing big time in that department. And I think we should have programs in place for women who are pregnant who can get access to real nutrition food. And this probably would tie into your company. So they have access to real food, real nutrition. And so we can, because I'm sure you're aware that mother and fetus share the same lymphatic system. So if the mother's unhealthy, she's going to pass on her weaknesses to the baby, and sorry, going to have one foot in the world, in the grave, so to speak. So yeah, we really need to focus on helping people or women who are pregnant and give them access to some real nutrition, real food. In my opinion.
So as men, I like to tread softly when I talk about women's health issues. because I'm not a woman.
Right.
However, as a nutritionist, as a husband, as a husband that I love, okay, and I have to out and say that it is in fact scientifically validatable that the mother will actually drop or infuse all of the baby's fluids with the same toxins that are in her body.
Right.
The
Yeah.
difference, her body is already developed, and so those toxins may have a minimal impact on her at that moment. But on the young developing fetus, those toxins impact are multiplied dramatically.
Yeah.
And this is something that's been ignored for far too long. And the reason why is because women's reproductive health and women's reproductive issues are very delicate politically and emotionally. And so as a man who does not have a uterus, obviously, I try to be very careful about the advice I give to women. However, this is so important that I have to step out of that and say, please, expecting mothers, detoxify yourself so
Yes.
you do not risk the dump of toxins into that developing baby.
Yeah. The amount of chemicals that they're finding in the umbilical cord, just the amount of heavy metals. I'm sure we can talk about this. Glyphosate's getting in there. I mean, just the amount of stuff they're finding in the umbilical cord is just, it's amazing. It's preponderous. So maybe we can get into that about your book that you just came out with not too long ago, The Toxin That Came to Dinner. Unfortunately, I was going to get the book before we did this, but I went on Amazon and it said it wasn't available. So I don't know if you're aware of that. Maybe out of stock or something, but it said unavailable. That was kind of weird.
It's sold for 3 times.
Oh, is that what's going on? Okay, that's what I figured.
Yeah, let me try to make sure that we get that fixed. But so this is what's crazy.
Because now that book's about glyphosate, right? Is that the
it
main?
Is.
Okay, yeah.
So several years ago, I knew that this problem of glyphosate was rising to epidemic proportions. Several years ago, I studied it, and I actually began to dissect the formula that would be necessary to nutritionally protect your body from this chemical. I then conducted preclinical trials, and I proved that my nutritional combination would dramatically reduce glyphosate by 75% in less than 2 months.
Wow.
In a month and a half. And then I went on to write a book warning people about the problem. Now, I didn't want to write the book warning people about the problem if there was no solution. There was enough people doing Non-GMO Project and all these other people doing all of the warning about the problem, but nobody had a solution. So in my book, The Toxin That Came to Dinner, I unequivocally prove to you that you are in grave, immediate danger. A clear and present danger exists for you, your children, and everyone you love. And no one has a solution. And everyone is affected. And so that 75% of the food on grocer shelves has been tested to be, how can I say it? Affected by, poisoned by, has traces of this toxin.
Now you're talking
and
about
even 95% of Americans whose blood is tested, whose urine is tested, are testing positive for high levels of this cancer-causing chemical.
Right.
And it's all around us. It's at schools, on highways, in parks. It's in your front yard, in your backyard if your gardener's using Roundup. It's on every grain product you eat that is not organic. And it's on 75% of the foods that you feed your family. And no one's doing anything about it. This chemical is the cousin to Agent Orange that was used in Vietnam to defoliate forests.
Okay.
And now it's being put on our food.
And so now it's even in the process, the package, the canned stuff as well, or just the produce?
No, it's not in produce. It's in grains.
And grains?
Anything that has wheat, barley, oats, anything, yeah, that's where it's mostly found. And grains are found in so many foods. That's why people, when they go gluten-free, they find that they start to get an effect, but then they don't realize that corn and rice are loaded with glyphosate as well. So they think they're allergic to grains, but they're really allergic to is glyphosate. They think they're allergic to gluten, but they're really allergic to is glyphosate. They think they have allergies, but what they're really allergic to is glyphosate. Google it. Everybody listening, everybody watching, please don't just trust me. Google it. Glyphosate and cancer. The World Health Organization has called it a human carcinogen. The National Academy of Sciences has said it should be banned. The state of California lists it as a carcinogenic substance. The city of Los Angeles has banned its use entirely. And Europe, unfortunately, just approved its use for 5 more years.
Oh, wow. Wow. Now, you said you wrote this book, but you didn't want to write it without having a solution or an answer. So you have a product called Biomedic. Is that what you recommend people to take for getting glyphosate out of the system?
Well, yeah. So our gut microbiome, the gut microbiome is this series of bacteria and villi. And these villi are like a big, strong field of grass with all these hairs that grab nutrients and pull them into our gut. And on top of those grassy hairs are billions of bacteria that are the barrier. They're the gatekeepers. They're the bouncers. They're throwing out the bad guys and allowing the good people in.
Right.
Glyphosate was designed to destroy all organisms that are not genetically modified. It's there to protect genetically modified organisms, or GMOs. Unfortunately, the gut bacteria in our gut, these organisms in our gut, are destroyed by glyphosate as well. Not just the organisms in the field, the organisms in our gut, because you cannot wash this toxic substance out. You can't cook it, separate it, no way to get rid of it. And so when that gut microbiome, when those little bacteria die, then the hairs are exposed and toxins just rush through the gate. Okay? Like there's no border patrol and just people are rushing into the country. And so the bottom line is that we've got this gut that needs to be repaired. We need to recreate those bacteria. We need to repair those hairs, but you can't do it until the toxin's gone. So in my product called Gut, it's the microbiome. We call it Biomedic. Right. It's like a series of doctors that go into your gut. Now, the first doctor is going to lift up the toxin from your tissue, and the second doctor is going to grab it and turn it into feces so your body will poop it out.
So it's like a binder.
Yeah, exactly. And so the first thing is called fulvic acid. It will modulate the thing, and then the second thing is called a bacteria, but it's not just any bacteria. It is a lactobacillus bacteria. These lactobacillus comes in a spore. I put a spore into the gut, it explodes, and these lactobacillus bacteria grab onto those toxins and guide them out of the body. Okay, and so then the third thing we have to do is we have to regrow that layer of friendly bacteria. So I've got a couple of ingredients that are specifically designed, minerals and prebiotics that are specifically designed to be the fertilizer so your bacteria, not some introduced bacteria from a lab or a nutrition company, your bacteria begin to grow rapidly. And once that layer of your bacteria are back, then those little hairs We have a special ingredient designed by a Nobel Prize winning laureate, Albert St. Georgi, who invented vitamin C. And that ingredient was bestowed upon me to be used in this product. And that ingredient strengthens those hairs, those villi, and makes them long and thick and strong. And once you have long, thick, strong villi and a thick layer of protected bacteria, then your gut microbiome has been restored and the biomedics have done their job. And so, yes, my product Biomedic is unbelievable, clinically tested, and the results that people feel are so dramatic, so immediate that they will not be without it.
Yeah. Now, let me get your thoughts on this, because you've been around the block a few times. I'm sure you've dabbled with raw foodism, Fruitarianism. What do you say to the people who are purists, who are like, nope, I'm just going to eat a fruitarian diet, completely natural. My body's going to cleanse and detoxify itself. I don't need supplements. I don't need anything else. Just a diet from nature. That's all I need. What do you say to those kind of people?
I say 100 years ago, they were so right.
Right. Yeah.
Know,
that's what I say. Yeah.
Years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago. They were right all the way up till about 60 years ago. The problem is that 60 years ago, the toxins coming into our body overcame our body's natural ability to eliminate them.
Right.
Our body has phenomenal. Every time we sneeze, every time we cough, every time we sweat, every time we urinate, every time we defecate, every time we vomit, every time our skin exfoliates, we are getting rid of toxins. Absolutely. Every time we exhale,
there's some right there.
We're getting rid of stuff that we don't need, right? But what we have to realize is that this body that was designed to do all of that so wondrously was not designed to eliminate chemical compounds that are not recognizable by the body. Yes. Chemical compounds like trans fats, chemical compounds like plastics, chemical compounds like bacteria that are resistant, to our body's natural defenses. We have to do something extra to get rid of the excess heavy metals, lead, mercury, that are coming through industrial introduction to our air, our water, etc. So they are absolutely right that food is your medicine. Food is the first line of defense, and everything I give you is food. You're getting bacteria, which is part of a living organism. You're getting an extract from wheat germ. You're getting a part of a tree bark. You're getting, you see what I mean? Everything I'm giving you is natural food.
Right.
So you're getting Biomedic, you're actually getting things that appear in nature. And if you knew where to look and knew how to prepare them, you absolutely could do that. But you don't know where to look. You don't know how to prepare them. And that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to be that way, like, oh, nope, just a raw food diet, that's going to fix everything, but anti-supplements. Now I'm like, yeah, the soil's not what it used to be, the environment's not what it used to be, so if you can take something to help, why wouldn't you? It just makes sense.
And then people ask me, they're like, well, how long do I need to take these foods that detoxify me? And I said, well, I want to ask you, how often do you brush your teeth? How often do you wash your hair? How often do you clean your ears? How often do you blow your nose? How often do you wipe your behind? Because the last time I checked, you buy toilet paper when it's gone. You buy toothpaste when you're out. You buy soap and shampoo when you've used the last amount.
Right.
You ask yourself, oh, I have to keep washing my hair. Oh, I have to keep brushing my teeth. Oh, I have to keep cleaning my ears. No one ever asked me that. Yet for some reason they ask me, do I need to keep cleaning the inside of my body?
Yeah. Makes sense, man. Right.
So I always ask people, well, when you use toilet paper, that's what was inside you, bro.
Right. Yeah.
You didn't get rid of it. There's more there. Yeah. So you got to keep cleaning the inside. It's more important than cleaning the outside.
Yeah, yeah. Now, are you an optimistic kind of guy? Because I think, what are they saying now? 30, 40 years, if we keep going at this rate, especially with the factory farming, that 34 years, and then it's going to be a point of no return. You know, with the deforestation, we're losing all these great plant medicines, the ecosystems getting screwed up. So are you optimistic kind of guy? Do you think we're going to turn it around? Or sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Do you remember Y2K?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. During Y2K, I was going around with the Montana militia, Bo Greitz, Bob Spears, all of these people. We went from city to city teaching people survival techniques because the world was about to end, right?
Right.
And I'm the only one saying, this is never going to happen. You have nothing to worry about because we see the problem. We see the problem, and human beings are so innovative that when we acknowledge a problem, once we acknowledge a problem, we are masters of solving that problem. What my fear is that we're not going to acknowledge the problem, like global warming, like that idiot we have in the White House who's saying that global warming doesn't exist.
Right.
Okay. We're going to miss the opportunity to solve the problems because we're not seeing them. But here's the funny thing. Something always survives. Every time you use alcohol to clean a surface, 0.1% of the bacteria survive. And every time you use an antibiotic, 0.1% of the bacteria survive, and they become stronger and they adapt.
Right.
And they survive. I am that 1%, brother.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to be that 1%. I want everybody listening to be that 1%, because just because their genetic strength has gone down doesn't mean your genetic strength has to go down. Just because their food quality has diminished greatly doesn't mean your food quality needs to diminish greatly.
Right.
Understand?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think? What are your thoughts about this? Plant-based substitutes for meats. What about the clean meat? What do you think about that? That the Good Food Institute is coming up with. Is that a good transition tool? Do you think that's going to help? Because what is the world population vegan right now? 2-3%?
About 1%.
Is it 1%? Yeah.
Vegetarian, it might grow because of India and other Buddhist countries and such.
All right.
But that having been said, I think that everything dies so something else could live. And as people, we have a hard time coming to grips with the fact that things die. We have a hard time coming to the fact that we're going to die. And so in nature, and some level, everything that's alive is food for something else, even if it's after it dies and goes into the ground and the worm or the flies eat it. You understand?
Yeah,
and so this disconnect from the reality of that is something that confuses me. And I know that it's because we're compassionate people. I was a vegetarian for over a decade. And the main reason was for health issues, partly because I did not believe that the quality of food was available to me otherwise. But here's what I could say. If you do choose to eat another animal, another living thing, why don't you make sure that that animal was treated ethically?
All right.
Why don't you make sure that animal didn't suffer unnecessarily? Why don't you make sure that if you eat that animal, you bless it in such a way that you welcome it into your life, that it becomes part of you. Everything you eat becomes part of your cells. So if you do choose to eat something that had to die so that you could live, make sure that you are living a life that would make that animal ecstatic to be part of you. That you have integrity, that you love, that you respect, and that animal now becomes part of you. Then it's a blessing. But if that animal died to become part of an angry person, to become part of a mean person, to become part of someone that didn't love or make the world better, then yeah, that'd be a real shame. wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I just interviewed our friend Troy Casey, and he talked about, he was vegan for a long time too, and he said he did not do well on that diet. And he just talked about like what you just did about the circle of life, and how that happens. So I guess it's not right for everybody. I don't know.
Well, I guarantee you that carrot dies when you pull it out of the ground to eat it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I'm, I'm not equating it to the same. I'm just saying that, I've gone past the point to where I judge. I just don't judge. I just want the best outcome for everything.
Right.
And my hope and desire and prayer for the best outcome for everything and everyone, it must be without judgment, because everybody's on their own pathway of learning. And
Yep.
everybody is stumbling through their own darkness at times. And there was a story that was told to me about a man who was driving in his car to visit his dying mother. And he was told she might not make it through the day. And so he was driving as fast as he could to the hospital. And in front of him was somebody barely going the speed limit, laughing and joking and singing and ignoring his waves and his honks and his exhortations to please let him by. And it made him very upset. And then a month later, he was riding in the car with his daughter, and she was telling him a story about college, about one of the challenges she was going through. And he turned on her favorite song to cheer her up. And they were sitting there laughing finally, and some idiot behind him was honking and waving at him and telling him to move over. And he said, someday you're the jerk behind, and another day you're the idiot in front. So let's stop judging, because we don't know where somebody else is in their mind, in their heart, in their body at the time that we decide we're going to judge them. I don't judge you. I'm here to hold up a sign, and it says, I believe you have an amazing, incredible future. And I think it's this direction. And you could believe that or not. You could listen to me or not.
Right.
But a lot of people have read my signs. I have tens of thousands of people who have told me personally how their lives were changed dramatically, like they may never have been without reading that sign.
Right.
And so I'm happy to hold up those signs, but I don't judge.
Right. Yeah. I love that, man. Why don't we switch gears here for a second? Why don't we get to know you a little bit better, if you indulge me? What are some daily practices or non-negotiable things that you implement into your life? Things that you do, whether it's meditation, journaling. What are some things that you like to practice on a daily basis?
Well, the first thing I like to practice is intention. I like to set an intention for my day when I wake up. It's like pointing yourself in a direction, getting a compass and finding true north,
Right.
and making sure that you're walking. So I wake up and I talk to great creator, and I ask that I receive knowledge that will allow me to serve for 24 hours. Give me the knowledge I need. Give me the strength I need. Give me the courage I need to do the right work, the right way, the good work, the good thing. And then I'll be back tomorrow so you could give me some more of that. Because if you give me more than for today, my ego might believe it's from me. So keep me humble, keep me in service, and keep me strong. So I start my day with that intention of why I'm here and what I need to do with my life. And then I make sure that I focus on three things and three things only that I need to do today. Just three things. If I get any more done, God bless that up.
Right.
But there's three things I need to do today. And I'm not going to be distracted by the 100 little things that could get done. There's always 100 little things that could get done. And there's three things that have to get done. And we spend our life on the 100 little things that should maybe get done. And we keep ignoring the three things that have to get done. And I don't understand that.
Right. Right.
I'm a work on the top three things guy. The rest could wait.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, man. You're here, you're present with me. You stuck aside some time to talk with me, and so you're a man of your word. You're doing what you preach. So I appreciate that, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, we need to show up, we need to show up. And we need to have integrity. I want to leave you with one thought. And that is that so many people say, be true to thyself. To thine own self be true.
Right.
And yet, when I ask somebody, do you know who your own true self is? Most people don't.
Yeah.
So if you don't know who you really are, how could you be true to that self? And so there's a way to find out who you are, who you truly are. And when you do this, it activates the laws of attraction. Because once you know who you are and what you want and what you don't want and who you don't want, then all of a sudden the universe knows too, because your life becomes a prayer. So I'm going to give you a short lesson on how to activate the laws of attraction going into 2019, how to change everything.
All right, let's hear
to
it.
make it better, and it will never be the same. Could I lay that on you?
Oh, yes, sir. Please do.
So you're going to start with a piece of paper, and you're going to make a list of 20 things that you believe you need to be happy. From the time you're 5 till you're 50 till you're 105, put the things that you would need, you as a human being, to be happy. And then go on. And I want you to make a list that if you had somebody that you had to spend the rest of your life with, what are the 20 qualities you wish that they had? Don't put 15, put 20. If you had to spend the rest of your life with somebody, they might be a lover, but they might not. If you had to spend the rest of your life with somebody, what are the qualities you hope that they would have? And then go to the third list, and you're going to write 20 qualities that you would hope that the someone you stayed with the rest of your life every day, 24/7, would not have. Okay? And then you're going to go back and you're going to narrow each of those down to 5 things. If you need to consolidate 3 words into 1 word, that might happen.
Yeah.
But you're going to pick up 5 things that you need to be happy. You got to throw out some of the things that you thought, because something's more important than that.
Yeah.
And then you got to think of the 5 qualities that you want in your eternal partner. And then you got to think of the 5 things you do not want in your eternal partner. And here's the magic. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to realize you have 5 or 10 toxic people in your life that are virtually a list of that shit that you hate. And you're going to ask yourself, why? Why? And then you're going to realize that there's 3 or 4 people that have been in your universe for a while and you never realized why. And then you realize it's because they're the angels that have been all around you without you knowing it. And they're suddenly going to become like your best friends.
Yeah.
And the crazy part, you're going to know what you really want in life. And all of the things you were thinking were important start to disappear. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, that trip to Hawaii isn't important. What's really important is that I want a sunroom for my baby. That's what's really important. And the trip to Hawaii is a distraction. And pretty soon, even though that's a simple example, I didn't want to be too offensive, you're going to find that people that are toxic start to disappear because they see you now and they know that you are.
Yep.
And these other people are going to see that you love yourself, and they're going to be so much easier to love you. And here's the great part. You're going to make yes the most sacred word in your universe. Yes is a contract. Yes is an obligation. Yes is giving of yourself. And you don't do that without really good reason. So you start saying maybe and no, and it makes you powerful. Say it in the nicest way. Don't ever say maybe and no mean, because those are not fun meals to eat, so make them sweet. But remember that once you have back control of your yeses, and you look at your calendar and you have almost nothing to do except for make yourself better, it feels so good.
Yeah.
So stop being a yes whore, okay? Because it takes your integrity. It takes away your integrity because you say yes now and you have to say no later. And then you drop trust in yourself. You drop trust in your friends.
Yeah.
No is first. Maybe is with thought. And yes is a sacred contract that you are going to fulfill. So do not say yes unless you intend to do what you say. And when you asked me if I would be on your program, I said, maybe. Let's see what falls into place first. You made those things fall into place. And here we are with a big yes. That proves to me that you have integrity.
I don't take no for an answer. I bug people until they say yeah. I'm a little stalkerish sometimes. I don't take no for an answer.
That's called persistence, baby.
That's right. What does David Sandoval look like in the future? Your future manifestation. What does that look like to you? What are some of the goals that you haven't attained yet that you see yourself doing that is in the future for you? Because I talked to Ronnie Landis, and he talked about we have this future manifestation of ourselves, but there's a lag time from the present moment until we can get to that reality, because it already exists if we can think about it. So what does your future manifestation look like?
Today. My future is today.
In the moment.
I don't do the future.
No.
No. I understand that my future is because of today. I cannot get 10 miles if I don't walk a mile today. You see? So your future is your destination, your destiny. Okay? If you have a destiny, you mark it on a map and you plot a course. And unless you start moving toward that destiny, it's not your destiny, brother.
Right.
Destinies don't happen from genies in a bottle.
Yeah.
Destinies don't happen from lottery tickets. Destinies happen because you set a course toward a destination.
You got to do the work. Yeah.
Yeah. So my destiny looks like today, because today I start the first step toward that journey. You see?
Right.
So I know the future because I'm walking toward it. And I'm ready for all the unknown as well, because I learned from the darkness of my past.
Right.
So yeah, but to be a little more realistic, I'm working with autistic children. I have a nonprofit called the Awaken Project. I bring entire families here for an entire week for $0. I pay for everything. And we immerse them in amazing techniques and in therapies and in treatments that dramatically improve the quality of life for the entire family impacted by autism, increases communication, increases joy, and increases quality of life. And that's immediate. It's what we're doing. Excuse me. I also want to start tackling Alzheimer's this year. I'm going to make it my major focus. Last year was autism. This year is Alzheimer's. I'm going to make my way through the alphabet. We're just getting started, so stay tuned.
Yeah, my daughter hasn't been clinically diagnosed with autism, but she falls in the spectrum for sure. She's dyslexic, and she shows signs of like Asperger's. But like I said, she hasn't been clinically diagnosed. But and I can't prove it, but I think it's because
how old is she?
She's 12. And I can't prove it, but
okay,
I
awesome.
think it's because of vaccinations, but I can't prove that. But
Well, get yourself some Biomedic and get yourself some CBD and get yourself a nice green drink like our Spectrum Greens. And I think, like so many other parents, you will see a dramatic and almost instant change for the positive.
Okay.
Remember, we are not trying to cure autistic kids. They are perfect in the way they are. We're trying to help their bodies heal. Healing and cure are not the same.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
So we don't need to cure autism. Autism is a gift. We need to heal their minds and their bodies so that they could better understand themselves and us, and so we could better understand them. And that's our goal.
All right. Well, why don't we wrap this up by plugging your company, Purium, and explain to the good folks out there what it is and why it's something that they should explore, something that can transform their life. So maybe explain a little bit about your company and what you guys are doing.
Yeah, very quickly. I've got basically a superfood superstore with about 60 amazing products, life-changing products. We've been on the market for a lot of years. I did radio in New York City, and I documented thousands of questions. And then I designed a product line specifically to address those questions I got doing Health Talk Radio. So I believe it's the most comprehensive. We also believe in a pay-it-forward method. So I assume that you hopefully will find a way to get all of these fine folks a $50 gift card so they could go to my website and shop for free. Their first $50 is on me, because I really believe in what I'm doing, and I think you will too if I meet you halfway.
Yeah. Now, does your, like a lot of these, like, I don't want to call your stuff supplements, but a lot of supplements on the market have like preservatives, additives, fillers. Do you guys stay away from that stuff, or?
Since 1993, we've made this promise. No binders, fillers, excipients, preservatives, additives, coloring agents, flowing agents, or any excipients at all. The purest food on the planet. Purium stands for pure and premium. If pure and premium had a baby, it would be named Purium.
And what are your guys' best sellers?
The CBD is the finest on the market and the lowest price. Our Biomedic for repairing the gut microbiome that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And then our biggest seller is something called a transformation. It's a immersion into organic food. It's like a fast, except that you actually immerse your body with all these cleansing foods instead of not eating. You actually are purposely eating, but a very specific diet. And over 10 days, most people detoxify in a major way and lose 10 to 15 pounds and begin the road toward resetting their metabolism. And so we have the 10-day and the 40-day version. Most people do the 40-day version because the 10 days really intense. But yeah, but a lot of people have gone straight into the 10-day and had unbelievable results. But people who aren't used to fasting and detoxing, I really suggest they start with the 40-day.
Right. Yeah, I was going to ask that if Purium offers any kind of advice or education other than the nutrition as a holistic approach of how to live a healthy lifestyle. Yeah, I was going to say.
Absolutely. With that, I give you an approved food list. It's like a shopping list. And when you go shopping, it says these are the things you should buy and make your meals out of. We also have Purium recipes with thousands of recipes that you could go to and just choose a very healthy recipe, so that, because we all eat, the quality of the food that we eat will be equal to the quality of the life we live. So if you improve the quality of your food, you improve the quality of your life. Purium just happens to be concentrated goodness, super concentrated, superfood. So if you take one of my shakes, you may not be hungry for 3 or 4 hours. That means during those 3 or 4 hours, you're not going to be snacking. You're not going to be eating bad food. You're going to be detoxing. And the longer your body goes without food in it, the longer you live and the healthier you are. It's called intermittent fasting. If you start your day with my protein pills and my power shake, which is fewer than like 50 calories, then you're going to be, like fasting for 4 hours. If you end your day with some of my protein pills and a power shake, then you're going to end your day with like 4 hours of not eating, which means you're going to have the most amazing intermittent fasting results without having to starve yourself. It's really incredible.
Yeah. Well, this is awesome. This will tie us back to the beginning of the show where the school lunches, we need to get these kind of nutrition products into the school lunches, get out the crap, get some real food in there. Yeah.
Recess. Get kids running, running, playing, and ADD goes away. You know what I mean? Pretty soon these kids aren't hyperactive anymore because they have actually ran a little bit. So let's have better school lunches. Let's have recess again. Let's let kids be kids. And then they will learn so fast. They'll learn so fast. But if their brains aren't nourished, if their bodies aren't in a position to learn, we are not going to win. So my brother, it's been such a pleasure to be with you. You could tell by my throat it's time for me to go get a little drink of water. So God bless and keep the spirit running, my man.
All right, sounds good. I appreciate your time, man. You have, like I said, you had a ton of knowledge, tons of information. We're just here to inspire and educate the people. So I hope people listening to this get something, some kind of takeaway, especially for the new year, just how to get motivated, get inspired to make these changes that we need so desperately on a personal level, on a planet level. So I commend you, man. I appreciate the work that you're doing. I appreciate it.
Awesome. And remember that I'm going to give you 25% or $50, whichever is greater, off of your first order, because we're starting all these group cleanses, all these group detoxes. We have thousands of people doing this together. We're starting one almost every week, the first month of January. Right. So, join. Love to have you as part of this big, massive group detox we're doing.
Awesome. Sounds good, man. All right. Look forward to it. All right. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Ahoy ho.
Bye.